You just checked your phone, maybe 30 seconds ago, maybe 2 minutes ago. You don't remember exactly when, which is part of the problem. And the fact that you're watching a video about phone addiction right now, almost certainly on a phone, is not irony. It is evidence. Here is what that behavior is actually doing to your brain. In 2022, researchers at Heidelberg University scanned the brains of people identified as smartphone dependent using MRI. What they found sitting inside those scans should have made international headlines. The brains of heavy phone users showed measurable reductions in gray matter, the tissue responsible for self-control, decision-making, and the ability to resist impulse. The pattern was not random. It closely mirrored the gray matter loss seen in the brains of people addicted to drugs and alcohol. Nobody told you this. Nobody put it on a warning label. And the people who built your phone knew, or could have known, long before those scans were taken. Tristan Harris was a design ethicist at Google. In 2013, he wrote an internal presentation, 141 slides, warning colleagues that the products they were building were systematically exploiting psychological weaknesses in their users. He specifically named the slot machine as the model. Every time you pull down on your phone to refresh, you are pulling a lever. Sometimes new content appears, sometimes nothing does. That unpredictability, not the reward, but the uncertainty of the reward, is what creates compulsion. Neuroscientists call it variable reward. Behavioral psychologists have known since the 1950s that variable reward schedules produce the most persistent and hardest to extinguish behaviors ever documented in laboratory conditions. The slot machine was not a coincidence. It was a template. Harris sent his presentation to colleagues. They read it, and then they used it to build better products. 4 years later, Sean Parker, the founding president of Facebook, confirmed what Harris had described from the inside. At a public event in 2017, Parker explained that the original goal was to consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. Every like, every comment, every notification was a calculated dopamine hit designed to pull you back. He described it as exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. Then he said something even more striking. He said the inventors understood this consciously, and he included himself. Now, think about what you are actually fighting when you try to put your phone down. You are not fighting boredom. You are not fighting laziness. You are fighting a system built by some of the most sophisticated behavioral engineers on the planet, refined over decades, tested on billions of people, and optimized specifically to defeat the part of your brain that would otherwise tell you to stop. The red notification badge is red because red triggers urgency in the human nervous system. The infinite scroll removes every natural stopping point your brain would otherwise use to disengage. The pull to refresh gesture was borrowed directly from slot machine mechanics. Each of these features was a deliberate choice. Each of them was tested. Each of them stayed because it worked. And the MRI scans show what years of that system does to the tissue inside your skull. A 2016 study published in PLOS One scanned the brains of college students with high phone dependence and found decreased gray matter volume in the frontal regions responsible for impulse control, the same regions that weaken in people with substance addiction. The students weren't injecting anything, they were just checking their phones, dozens of times a day, every day, for years. Here is the part nobody in Silicon Valley wants you to understand. The goal was never to give you a useful tool. The goal, stated plainly by the people who built it, was to make it impossible to stop using. And when a product's only measure of success is your inability to put it down, the question of whether that product is serving you or consuming you has a very clear answer. You are not weak. You are not uniquely distracted. You are a human being with an ancient nervous system that was not built to resist what an entire industry spent decades learning how to exploit. Tristan Harris quit Google and spent the next decade trying to warn the world about what he had seen from the inside. He testified before the United States Senate. He made a documentary. He co-founded the Center for Humane Technology. And every year, the average person spends more time on their phone than the year before. The machine is not broken. It is working exactly as designed. The only question left is which side of that design you want to be on.